teach people how to use fasting in order to heal their lives and to heal their bodies and um, really to find an opportunity in their life for the conscious pause.
This is what Jasai is talking about, this idea of making a practice of checking in with yourself so that you know who you are, what you need, what you don't need, and how to go about keeping that as a part of your everyday flow, not just when you go off to a retreat in November.
Right. And this is the thing, because I don't want people to feel like there's judgment, any of those things. You could catch me on any given day, and probably people in my family would be like, could you please not drive and look on Facebook? Or, I mean, that's what's true.
Yeah.
But what I would say is just like you noted, if you're not giving yourself any concentrated time,
Yeah.
if you're not doing that,
Yeah.
then you are going to look up one day and not know who you are and
Yes.
not know where you are or why.
Yes. Yes, you will be muted. Yeah.
And there is a feeling that I get now, even when when I'm on Facebook too much, or when I'm doing too much social media, or when I'm doing too much, period, there is something I can hear and feel bodily that says, okay, that's enough. Now, again, I still have to choose whether to actually pull out or to get up or to move, but the being able to hear that before it sends me to the hospital, or before it sends my blood pressure dangerously high, or before it sends me to a gallon of ice cream without me understanding the connection.
Yes.
That is the thing that gets more keen, so that we're able to reach ourselves when it's time to reach ourselves.
And I am so excited, as always. I'm sharing another wonderful life design resource with you. I met her online, the power of social media, and I'm talking with Jasai Madden, author of The New Fast Girls. So I'm going to let Jasai tell you a little bit about, her work as a practitioner of mindfulness and using food as medicine. She teaches and guides people through that practice. So welcome very much to the Life Design Agency, Jasai, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So Jasai, for a lot of us, the things that you're saying, when you talk about hearing something within, or, a voice said to you, or the universe was supporting, this thing even before you fully realized it. For some of us, that's very familiar. We know what that feels like. But for those of us who don't know what that's like, how would you know if something was going on that needed your attention, something not in your regular conscious mind? Do you ever encounter that with your clients as you're teaching people that idea of, mindfulness?
Absolutely. And what I say is, it's the practice of fasting. I actually say this in the book, that this practice is a practice of being wise and becoming wise. Because what happens is, when you do it, that voice becomes keener and more clear. It's sometimes hard, and people do ask me all the time, how do I know if that's the good voice or the not good voice? well, the first question is, what is it saying?
Yeah, right.
But then there is a feeling. There is a feeling, and really body consciousness, and really getting in touch with how our body responds, because the body doesn't lie. We can tell ourselves all kinds of things, all kinds of stories, but if you say something out of your mouth and your stomach clenches up, or if you think a thought and your body becomes relaxed, or your spirit becomes happy, that's the body's responding to what is true for you and what is not true for you. And because this is such a body practice, refraining from eating, you really get familiar with how your body responds to what's true and what's not true for you. So even if you don't understand that in the beginning, I tell people, just do the practice. It's like going to the gym. You don't have to understand how, lifting a dumbbell makes your arm strong. The
Yeah.
fact of the matter is, if you do it, your arm will be strong.
Right, right.
That's how that works.
Now, is that the sort of insights that we can get from the book? Can you tell me a little bit about, as you went into how you got started? I love it. I could hear the story 15 times about how you're like, well, I saw this thing, it was perfect. And then I jumped in, signed up, and then I was like, wait, hold on a second. This is really a lot of times how things work for us. So in the book, is this where you talk us through these sort of things, like knowing which voice is the quote unquote right voice, or getting into the practice of it? Why would we pick up the book?
You know what? There is a story in the book that I offer about one of the earlier occasions when I first started to do the fast.
Yeah.
And it is the story of me. And I used to work in a corporate office, and I had like 5 or 6 bosses and lots of colleagues on this floor. And it just so happened on this one day, on this fast day, everybody was out of town. And so I came into, and people had known I was fasting on Monday, and I was very clear about that because there was lots of food. And so at some point I got tired of people saying, are you going to eat? Are you going to eat? So I just told them. Well, this particular Monday, no one was there. And so I'm at my desk and I'm minding my business and I'm doing my little thing. And then I hear this voice that says, just eat it.
Whoa.
I'm like, what is going on? And so I'm like, okay, and I'm sort of doing that. And I hear again, just eat the damn things. Nobody's gonna know.
Wow.
And I'm like, listen, little girl.
Right.
Because really, that's how I came to, in order to relate to this, what I call her is the little me, in order to relate to this person, this small me, this person with really not as much vantage as I have if I'm operating at a higher level, I had to befriend her. Because what you can't do, and what I teach my clients all the time, is what you can't do is strong arm your ego. It has entirely too much practice in getting away from you.
Do y'all see why I had to have her on? Because we are so speaking the same language. There's another life designer who says that her name is escaping me. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the screen when it comes back to me when I'm editing. But she said, Ariane Benefit is her name. She's in New York, and she talks about the bully, like this inner bully, how we bully ourselves, particularly women like us who wouldn't take bullying from anybody else.
Right.
Even our mamas,
Right.
But then we do that ourselves. So I think it's so important that you bring up that point, Jasai, because really when you try to strong arm, as you say, or bully yourself, you're going to be stuck, because it's like a face off, like this constant face off. And I think it's brilliant that you say, that higher version of yourself has a much better vantage point. And so that other little you that's talking, you can't just be like, shut up, da, da, da. Like, you really have to connect. Otherwise, she's going to be like, I'm still here.
Right. That was the first time in my life.
Yeah.
Now, I'm 30 years old. That was the first time in my life that I saw her separate from another version of myself. And I was like, oh, no, sweetheart.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to just sit here and sit here.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Yep.
And you know what? And when I did it like that, when I didn't try to ignore her, and when I didn't try to, punk myself into, when I just sat there, then she unfolded her arms and she was like, okay.
Wow. Yep. So you connected with her for the first time, really seeing her as something and someone separate from you, something where you could say, you know what, I get to choose. That's what's in there, that power of choice, where you say, well, I can't help it. That's how I was raised. That's how my family eats, or, we don't dig exercise, or, whatever that thing is. This is how you can get into that practice of saying, wait a minute, but I choose something else.
Right.
Because this thing isn't serving me. Or, like in your case, you say, you know what, but I committed to this. I decided to try this thing. It's not necessarily a health scare, or, one of the things that usually causes us to be mindful in that way. You said, no, I committed to this, so I can actually choose. So this is powerful, y'all. I want y'all to really pay attention to how she's saying that, seeing that version of herself as separate, that empowers you to choose. And choosing, making a choice isn't something that you just do on January 1st or on your birthday or
Right.
whatever.
Every minute of the day. Every minute. And that's really, this is why fasting is my choice of seeing and reconnecting every week with me. Because when you don't eat, because eating is understood by all of us as such a vital, activity and something we need to do to thrive, survive, to live. What happens is when we don't eat and when we choose, because there's a difference between forgetting to eat and choosing not to eat. And when we choose that, what we're saying is that I'm going to get in front of my small self. I'm going to take the lead just for today, just sunrise on Monday to sunrise on Tuesday. The big I is going to be in charge. And as soon as we do that, there's an idea in the church, and maybe it's even a biblical idea, that when I try to do good, evil is always present. And I don't think that it's evil so much as it's the thing that I wouldn't do if I were choosing. It's the thing that I wouldn't choose. But it's always there. The moment we make an intention to do one thing, it's what I call it is lab. It's almost like the universe says, okay, well, you said you knew this. You said you had this down and you got it down intellectually on paper. So let's see what you got.
Yeah. Yep, I love it. And I think a lot of us can really connect with that in various aspects of our lives. These things come up and then we feel, for me, when I did the cleanse, which was the closest thing that I'd done to that, where I was just, doing it was the master cleanse. So it was like
eliminate, yes.
That one. And I was like, well, but I would really like a spinach wrap right now. And I have a headache and I might die. And, really, it felt so urgent. And everybody said, well, if you make it to the third day, you'll be fine. And that was not the case for me. It was like a group of us. So how do you address that? Like, did you get the hunger headaches? Did you get the these are peanuts. They did come from the earth. I could eat these and be okay. What do you do with that?
This is, again, the whole practice is about the big I befriending, making friends with the little I so that you all can work together, because you're not going to get rid of your ego. You're not going to get rid of, certainly not overnight, you're not going to get rid of all the programming. And so what you have to do is say, no matter what happens. It's almost like at the beginning of a race, you say, okay, look, we're going to run this race. We're going to run this race no matter what happens. And so, the little one's like, okay, sure. And then you get to mile 1 and she's like, oh, but my knee hurts.
Right.
You know what, baby girl? And that's okay. We're going to run this race. Oh, but my arm is hurting and my shoulder and I can't really, well, we're going to run it with your shoulder falling off. We're going to do it no matter what.
So you're communicating with her that whole time.
And this is it. It's staying with it, because we think we're going to do it and it's going to be done. We're going to learn it and it's going to be learned. This is your life. This is you. This is the you've been with since you exited your mother's womb. You are going to have to work with you. No matter what. And so it is ongoing, and that we get tired and we want to put it down, or we get lazy and we say, I don't want to think about it. I just want to have a drink and watch the basketball wives and whatever you can do that, but know that little mama is working. She's working when you're not working. She is paying attention when you're not paying attention, because the job of the ego is to make sure everything stays in line. The problem is, if the line you're in is not the line you don't want to be in,
that's where you're going to keep going, and then and then you're getting the same
because
results.
You're not paying attention. Somebody's got to be in charge. You let her be in charge, you're going to live that life, and that's really it.
So I hear accountability in what you're saying. I hear pushing through in what you're saying. And I hear looking at it from the perspective of a journey in what you're saying. So if you do take that big bite of the spinach wrap like I did on day 8, I was like, then it doesn't mean that I'm forbidden from doing it again ever in life, period.
That's right.
You can keep going. You can say, okay, you made that, you did that, you made that choice. sometimes even the label, right? Labeling it as a mistake or I messed up or whatever. I think that younger, that small I, like she relishes that stuff. It's like, yep, see, I told you. So
Right.
I love that you're putting it in that way. I do a lot of that work in my Live Your Grain workshop too. Like that little girl inside of us, the one that just wants everything to be okay. I don't want to rock the boat. I
Mm.
just want everything to be okay. If you want peanuts, eat peanuts, girl.
Right.
But, however, what about my capacity to choose? What about if I want to, like you said, get in the gym and actually work on that muscle? Yes, I'll be sore for a few days, but eventually I'll be all like Angela Bassett up in here, and
Right.
then I'll be okay. So I love that you're talking about, and I love that you provided a resource, which is the book, the new Fast Girls, that really talks to you about some of the benefits. So what are we getting from the book? We're getting the story, kind of how you came to this thing. Are you telling us some of the benefits of this from the perspective of our health and our emotional wellness? What are we getting?
Absolutely. There is, if I have a little space here to just read something,
Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
I'd love to share something from the beginning of the book. This is actually the introduction. It says, "This is my testimony. A weekly practice of fasting has made my hair and resolve stronger, skin clearer, and the act of peeling back the emotional layers of my life less painful.
Mm.
It has made my waist slimmer, my periods lighter, and turned my temperament from a searing blaze to a warm ember.
Wow.
Fasting allows me creative courage and more complete sleep. Its regular practice has helped me clear the cobwebs from my head and heart and given me the discipline to finally finish a book after 13 years of less than steady intention. Spending long days dependent on spiritual fuel instead of food has made me sure of my eternal self, of the continuous availability of my inner strength. It makes me walk taller, literally and figuratively, and ushers me into more mindful ways of speaking and being. Fasting has helped me shed the weight of my past failings and celebrate the truth that they took place solely to teach.
Mm.
Going without food for 24 to 36 hours every week allows me to see myself, the parts of me that withhold and those that lash out, and teaches me how to adjust towards right action. Every week, when I meet the day with the intention to fast, I am saying to myself and to the infinite, teach me what I need to learn. Show me what I need to see.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the death I need so that I may truly live. And sometimes it feels like that,
Yeah.
like I'm surely going to die, but I don't. I live more fully during and after the fast than ever before. That really is what it does for you. It is so life altering to get in front of yourself. It really is. And for me, the challenge that I saw, and I speak to this in the book as well, the challenge that I saw is there are lots of things that I'm good at.
Yeah.
I'm really good at telling somebody, "Nah, I'm good. I don't need a donut."
Yeah.
Or I can even cook. One of the things that I love so much about the practice is it really has given me a different way to appreciate food. Because I am a mom, and I do cook on my fast day.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've been able to do is really appreciate the texture of the food and the scent of the food and the beauty of the vegetables and all the colors and all of that really has made me more of an artist in the kitchen, because it isn't just about shoving the food down my throat.
Yes.
And,
that's
it really,
the mindfulness, right? Yes.
There's a deeper kind of appreciation for cooking and everything you do when you're mindful of it. But I'm going to tell you that my parenting is a place where I'm not as graceful. I don't hold on as well.
Yeah.
And so what I would see on my fast days is that I would be good at work. I would be good everywhere. I wasn't hungry, didn't need to eat. Girl, I would be driving to go get my son and be like, "Oh, I need some French fries."
Right.
I mean, the moment my attention had to turn to my parenting, what I realized is there's so much anxiety and there's so much
I was gonna
pressure.
say that's so telling. So it's exactly what you said. You said it at the beginning, that when you surrender to that thing through fasting, like you can hear what you need. You could and that's, I mean, how loud is that? How clear of a message is that? So the
'Cause
anxiety.
And And really what it gave me is an opportunity, because everybody's like, well, you can get overwhelmed with the things that need to be focused on, the things that need to be attended to in your life always seem like they're so great.
Yeah.
Really, it isn't. Issues at work are issues at work. If you can do the work and put it down and walk away and have peace, then you're good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I would get tight as I just couldn't even. And this is the thing, Akila, it was shocking to me, which is something, because sometimes we think we have issues in a place where we really don't have issues.
Yeah, and it'll show up somewhere else where you're like, I'm sorry, who are you? What?
Right.
Yeah.
I was so unprepared for the truth that I was a control freak when it came to the way that I was rearing my children, because I had forgotten that these children came through me and they don't belong to me, and who they are is who they are, and that I have to let that go.
Yeah.
And it really, as a teacher and as somebody who counsels people, it is something imperative to know that this isn't your life.
That's
you
right.
can give advice, but you have to be accepting of the fact that these people are going to take the parts that are useful to them, and they're going to put the rest down.
Yeah, we are merely guides. Yes.
So glad you asked that. So I do, and this might be TMI, now in my life, I dance naked in the mirror more than I've ever done in my whole life.
Yes.
And it's not that I look so super hot. I feel light. And I mean that light like illumined and light like weight. That I feel so light that and really when you have clothes on, you can't really see yourself.
Yes.
See the whole of you, see the energy of you. And so when I look in the mirror, what I feel, especially when I'm doing my practice regularly, what I feel is alive in a way that is difficult to describe, except to say that it is bright white light. And I can't, it makes me emotional, because there was a time in my life where I loathed what I looked like physically. And now what I look like physically, certainly I don't loathe it, and I'm happier with the way that I look. But what's more true is that what I look like doesn't compare with what I feel like.
And I know that's something that a lot of us want, because that's where it starts. It starts with how you feel about yourself, because we all know women who, on the outside are beautiful, right?
Absolutely.
But how they feel about themselves is really what's going to show up when they start talking, or when they enter into a relationship, whether it's platonic or, a relationship with their significant other. That's really how you show up. How you feel is what you're showing up like. So I think it's beautiful that you are able to use this thing, to juice this thing. You looked in the bag, you got some of the things I like, but then you use the juice from that to really create something delicious and divine, and something that makes you dance. And where do we start?
I'm going to come to mindfulness here.
Okay.
I would say when you're ironing, iron. Don't think about dinner. Don't think about work. Don't think about, and it sounds simple. And my yogi always says to me, it is simple to do. It's difficult to remember. When you are talking to your children, talk to them. Listen to them. Hear what they're saying. Don't be thinking about what you're going to say back. I mean, stay so present that what comes out of your mouth literally comes out of understanding everything they've said until they finish talking. The ability to be present is so powerful. And it really is a practice that you have to continually do over and over again.
Absolutely.
But there isn't anything else. There really aren't any other real moments. The past is gone and the future is not yet come. And the present is really all that there is. And every answer to every question and every gift is right in the moment. And if you miss the moment, you miss the grace and the blessing in that moment. And so that's really where you can start. I mean, like immediately, like now, even watching this video, even listening to my voice, really hear the cadence and the song and the sound of a voice, and be be where you are is really, really the very, very beginning of any practice of refraining and being mindful.
Yeah, absolutely.
If
Yes.
you're afraid, don't do it.
Mm.
Because what happens when you fast is that you open up channels in your life and in your world and in your spirit, and you don't want to insert fear into those open channels. If you are afraid, do some research, read the book, meditate, pray, ask God what you should do, but please do not enter into a space, because this is really a vortex. Opening up your life and your heart and your mind in this way, it will be filled with whatever you will into the space. And
Mm.
if you're fearful, you really don't want to feed that to yourself. And I'm saying that because people would be surprised the number of people who are literally afraid to not eat.
Yeah, yeah.
They're afraid.
Mm. So you educate yourself first so that you're
Absolutely.
not approaching it from a place of fear, but you feel educated, you feel knowledgeable, and then if anything, you can maybe replace that fear with some curiosity, like what would happen if I did it for six
Absolutely.
hours or yeah.
Curiosity, insert curiosity here,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. But not fear.
uh,
I feel so grateful because it's this is something, the new Fast Girls is not something I could have cooked up.
yeah.
It's not something that I ever thought I would be doing or be sharing. That it really is the magic that comes from the universe, that comes from listening.
Yep.
And so I know that it's magic because it worked its magic on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that doing it, there's nothing that really compares to doing it. And certainly buying the book is useful. And it's only, what is it, 68 pages. It's not, a dissertation. It really is just a sharing. But it's like a pocket-sized reminder
Yeah.
because, again, it's so easy to forget.
Yeah.
Be brave. Be curious.
Yeah.
Go in search of yourself. That
Mm.
really, really the only thing we're doing here on this planet is taking the wrapping off, and taking the layers off to find really what's inside of this package that is our life. And this practice is like a bullet train to uncovering that.
I
It
love it.
really is.
Get on a train, y'all.
Get on the train.